When I review a movie, the typical process is this. I'll go see it, immediately after finishing it, I come home all giddy, full cocked, ready to just spit out all of my thoughts, and like Rene Descartes said, I think, therefore I am going to review this movie. I do it immediately, so everything is all fresh in there, everything that I cook up in this wrinkly sack between my ears, and I post it pretty much immediately, all within like 30 to 45 minutes of seeing a film. And yesterday I saw the Chainsaw Man movie and I really liked it, but I didn't post a review. And Stream picked up on this and started asking why, because it's pretty uncharacteristic. And the reason is because we actually have an official collaboration between our soap company Cheeky and Chainsaw Man. So this is available now. We have a Chainsaw Man movie-inspired line of new Cheeky scents. I was a big fan of Chainsaw Man, so this collaboration has been super hype, and like I said, I really liked the movie, so all of these scents are inspired by that and the characters. And with this partnership in mind, I was worried people would think by me reviewing this film that it would be biased or unreliable, and I'm only glazing it because we're working together with the property. But the more that I squatted and stewed on this, and from Stream Chat last night, I really just want to yap about the film. And I feel like over the course of the, 8-ish years that I've been reviewing movies and games, I think it should be pretty clear by this point that it doesn't really matter anything outside of like the actual product itself. Like, I try not to take anything else into account when just, spitting up my thoughts on something. So even though we are officially partnered with Chainsaw Man, I'm still going to give you my very honest review of the movie. And I do that for everything. So like, even if my dad made like a passion project film, if it's a pile of dog shit, I'm gonna let him know that is some stinky trash, Like, it's just gonna be how it is. Now, in the case of the Chainsaw Man movie, there is nothing stinky about it. This film was fucking extraordinary. And I said this last night, it has been an incredible year for 2D animated feature films. Pretty much back to back, we got Demon Slayer Infinity Castle and now the Chainsaw Man movie, which I think is right up there with it. I think this movie was so good. So let's go ahead and dive into the spaghetti and the meatballs here. So this is a whole arc condensed into a single movie. And I was a bit skeptical at first because I always thought when it came to something like this, you'd need multiple episodes to build up and care about a character that gets introduced. So that way it actually matters and feels meaningful when big things happen. But I have really come around on this arcs as movies direction that the industry seems to be going. I think Demon Slayer's done it really well, and now Chainsaw Man has proven they can do it really well. Reze is a character who gets introduced in this film and develops throughout this film, and by the end, you do care about the character. I think they do a really good job at setting that up. I think they hit the emotional beats very well. I also think this is a film you can see even without watching Season 1 of Chainsaw Man and still understand what's going on. I wouldn't really recommend doing that because you miss out on so fucking much, but if you have a friend or a significant other or something that maybe wants to go see it with you, I think they can without being lost and they can still really enjoy it. And this film comes in two very different halves. The first half of this film is setting up Reze in this emotional arc as well as Denji and his conflicting feelings where he's in love with Makima. Makima has his heart, but Reze is someone that's showing like genuine romantic interest in him, which is something he's never experienced before, so now he's also falling for Reze. So it's this back and forth of like these feelings he shares for two different women, and it's, really weighing heavy on him. It's stressing him out, and he's going on dates with Reze, but thinking of Makima, but really liking the time he spends with Reze. So the first half is really building that up and getting you to care about Reze. And I think they do a good job. The first half is very much like a slow burn where it is a lot of slice of life going on, and it's really well done, like it's detailed. Slice of life is my least favorite genre in anime, but in here, and maybe it's because of the time constraints of a movie, they're able to do slice of life without having it feel like it drags on or overstays its welcome. It feels like every single slice of life moment is there to build up this relationship and get you sold on this character, Reze, and I do think there are some people that will find that boring. In the same way where Demon Slayer had a lot of flashbacks to tell a story that people apparently didn't like that much and kind of tuned out, I didn't have an issue with it, but a lot of people didn't like all the flashbacks. This movie doesn't have any of that. There's no flashbacks, but instead they do all of that, fleshing out of these characters in real time across the movie. So actually maybe people will find that more appealing. But I just do think that there's a chance in the first half of this film where it is very, you know, mundane tasks that Denji goes on, like little dates with Makima and Reize where people might find it to be uninteresting. But I think it's important to understand that without all of this character building and giving all of that time and attention to actually making people invested in the story and characters, all of the action and all of the beautiful mayhem in the second half would have felt a lot less meaningful. Action without a good story and good reason for it feels flat. And in this film, that is not the case at all, because they spent a lot of time and a lot of care building everything in the first half. So then the second half, it feels like an even bigger payoff watching it all unfold. Something else I feel people might bump on is, if you're not super familiar with Denji as a character, maybe you would be put off by how, like, highly sexual he views things. So, like, when he's, you know, conflicted on his feelings with Reize and Makima, he pictures them in, like, you know, lingerie type thing, and he sees 2 sets of boobs, that kind of thing. Though I would say, in the context of the story, there's a real reason for that. Denji is a guy who has experienced nothing but misery and agony his entire life, and now all of a sudden, out of nowhere, it's turned around for him where he is, like, having friendly interactions with people, which has never happened, and now women are actually showing interest in him, which he never even thought was possible in the first place. But it turns out that these women are actually just using him. He is very easily manipulated because of how little experience he's ever had in his life, so they use, like, sexual shit as a way of controlling Denji and grooming him. So it does, like, make sense in the context of the story, but I do think that some people might be put off by that. Anyway, though, let's talk about the second half, because I think this is where everyone is going to be losing their fucking minds, throwing popcorn and how hype it was, because the entire second half of the film, the fights with Bomb Girl, are just incredible. Once Bomb Girl is introduced, once she comes into the fold, it is from that moment till the credits roll, fighting. She fights Aki, she fights fucking everybody, fucking civilians she starts throwing hands with. And Denji is teaming up with a shark fiend named Beam, and he rides the shark into battle with his chainsaw, like, wrapped around him, like the chainsaw blade that is, like, wrapped around him. It's so fucking cool. And not only is Bomb Girl fighting everybody, but she actually has a tag team partner named Typhoon, who, from the name you can probably guess, has the ability to basically controlling, like, the weather and like a typhoon. And it's just so chaotic and so fun. It's super, super hype. Also, big shout-outs to the music choice here. I heard Maximum the Hormone come on during one of the fight sequences, and that was a joy. I have not heard Maximum the Hormone in, good lord, who knows how long. But when Maximum the Hormone track started playing, my god, it was time to lock in. That's what Dankin said as well on stream. It really is super hype. The entire second half action is breathtaking. It is so, so good. I will say though, when Chainsaw Man is, like, directly fighting Typhoon, like actually in the mega mix deep in it, since Typhoon is just, you know, flinging so much shit around, there's a lot happening visually. You know, Chainsaw Man's riding Beam, this fucking giant shark in there, there's a lot happening. It can be a bit visually cluttered at times, but I don't think it ever reaches a point where you don't know what's happening and you can't see the action. I think it does a really good job of keeping everything, like, digestible, where you can easily tell what is going on. I just think when it gets to the Typhoon, like, towards the end of Typhoon fight there is so much that happens that it does get a little muddy, but never to a point where it was like, you know, what the fuck is happening? I just wanted to mention that there is a bit of clutter there with Typhoon in particular, towards, like, the final section there of him fighting Typhoon. But overall, I think this movie was great. I really, really liked it. And hopefully you don't think that this is just a biased perspective on it because of our partnership. I am very excited by the Cheeky Chainsaw Man collaboration. Like I mentioned, it's out now. All of the soap smells amazing, and I'm very excited, very happy to be working with them. But that plays no role in my thoughts on this movie. If this partnership didn't exist with Cheeky and Chainsaw Man, I would still have the exact same feelings on this film. So, yeah. Anyway, that's really about it. So, yeah. I love you. You ever heard those words before? Well, you have now. You know what else I love? Solo Leveling. I think it is a must-watch show. It's a little something called anime. Might have heard of it before. Solo Leveling has really blown up with the success of Season 2. It has exploded in popularity. It's broken a bunch of records, and not to put the pinky out and the fedora on, but I liked it a lot during Season 1 too, and I was preaching the good word even back then. I know it's a little hipster thing to say, but yeah, I was sucking its dick before it was cool. Though I haven't read the manhwa that it's based on, so I'm not like a primordial meat swallower of solo leveling, but I was an early adopter. But now everyone's throwing it in a big way because the show is extraordinary. It is a really, really good show. It's a very straightforward show with a simple premise we've seen hundreds of times before. It's not trying to reinvent spaghetti and meatballs here. It's perfectly content doing it very well. So it's basically a world where humans have awakened magical power, and these gates are starting to appear which act like dungeons in video games, if any of you are gamers out there. And the humans that have these powers become hunters more often than not, and they are ranked from E to S. E being dog shit tier, absolutely useless, bottom of the barrel, to S being the creme de la creme, the best the society has to offer. So these hunters will take these missions from their guilds, or sometimes not even with guild work, and go to the gates, defeat the boss to close the gate. The hunters protect the rest of humanity by closing these gates, so that way the magic beasts don't come in and fuck us all in the face. And that's kind of the whole idea of the world in a nutshell, and we follow the weakest hunter of them all, Sung Jin-woo. Now, real quick before I dive into what makes the show super special and extremely good, I'd like to thank the sponsor for this video. Big thanks to DC Dark Legion for sponsoring this video. DC Dark Legion is a new official DC game. It's available through the iOS and Google Play Store, so available on mobile and PC. It's a pretty simple game, making it optimal for pickup and play, so you can enjoy it anytime, anywhere, with a beautiful UI and a really fun gameplay loop that's a strategy game and simulator, where you're going to be collecting and building out your DC champions, making them bigger and better, customizing your bat caves, saving civilians and building shelters, and you can fight alongside with and battle others in a PvP game mode as well. With a high-quality comic book art style and an authentic DC experience with a story that'll have you going through iconic locations in the DC universe as well as having iconic beloved DC characters in it, it's a game that's filled to the brim with content. It's free to play, almost all champions released at launch can be unlocked for free within 1 month of play, and you can collect over 350 bleed draws to unlock almost all champions. You can use my gift code DCDL999 to get plenty of resources and 3 hero pulls called World Anvil Fragment. It's available now. Big thanks again to DC Dark Legion for sponsoring. So Sung Jin-woo is an E-ranked hunter who is absolute trash. He can't fight shit and he is useless to pretty much every party he's on. He is a knuckle sandwich magnet. The magic beasts treat him just like this fucking meat punching bag for them to dominate. And he is well known as the weakest hunter in this world. But even though he still gets walloped by anything with a pulse, he continues to go on these dangerous missions through these gates as an E-rank hunter, getting his clock clean time and time again for the singular purpose of trying to make money through being a hunter to hopefully at some point save his mother from an incurable disease. When one of his missions goes awry and everyone in his party starts to be slaughtered from a gate that turned into something a little bit more, Sung Jin-woo is facing death directly. And he is lamenting how all of it is playing out. He is sacrificing himself to save others, and it just feels so unfair. And right before he's about to perish, at the last second before his death, he was chosen by the system to be its player, which gives him an ability no other hunters that we know of have. The ability to level up. So he can level up his strength and everything like that, just like a video game. And now, Sung Jin-woo has unlimited potential through his ability to level up. And he also gets quests, he gets items, he gets summons. And we get to watch him go from the weakest hunter in the world to the strongest hunter the universe has to offer, at least that we've seen so far. As I said earlier, it's not a unique concept. This is a premise I've seen explored before in other shows as well, but solo leveling does it very well, and it's also beautifully animated. The big thing that has blown solo leveling up is its action. The animation for all of its action, and there is a lot of action, is just to a top-notch degree that people are loving it. And it helps that it is well written. Like, it is a good story, and it isn't, like, always just right in your face. Everything's just like, you know, put the square in the square hole. There are a lot of twists and moving parts to the narrative itself, but that's not, I would argue, that's not like the bread and butter of the show. The big thing that people love is Sung Jin-woo and his aura farming, as they call it, but just the way that he is able to fight and the way he's able to get stronger. And we get to watch him fight stronger and stronger enemies as he comes up with creative solutions to the combat. He gets so many items, so many abilities, and so many summons at his disposal that it makes every fight feel super fucking fresh and really cool. And the animation is breathtaking. This is, I would say, this is up there with like Jujutsu Kaisen level animation. Like, their fights, I think, are so good. It also has an absolute slapper of a soundtrack, so during some of the fights you'll hear the OST kick in, and it just elevates it to such a hype level. Now, while I think Solo Leveling is a must-watch, I don't think it's a perfect show. I think there's quite a few valid complaints, especially when it comes to Season 1. So Danny has been watching Solo Leveling since all of this hype around it. He wanted to get in and see if it's as good as it is, you know, as people lead him to believe it is. So he just started it recently, and he's really liking it, but he had some, like, really valid complaints that I also said about Season 1 in particular, where there's not really any characters outside of Sung Jin-woo. Like, yes, there's some other people that are introduced, but they're never really fleshed out. They're kind of just there in the background, just kind of idly doing shit, while Sung Jin-woo is going through all of these gates and his own quests by himself. I mean, as the name would imply, solo leveling. But that kind of makes it so you never really get to care about anyone besides Jinwoo, because you just don't really get to know anyone besides him. Which for some people, they're not going to give a fuck, but I do think it is a valid thing to say. You know, felt a little underwhelming that you only have one character that you ever really care about, and that also every fight Jinwoo gets in usually wraps up in like 1 or maybe 1.5 episodes. Throughout all of Solo Leveling, we're watching him become just fucking busted strong. Like, he is overpowering everyone pretty easily most of the time. There are a lot of times, mainly in Season 1, where it is like life and death. He gets very close and then squeaks it out. But for the most part, he is dog walking them. He is absolutely eating their lunch. He comes through, he's got, you know, hands by his side, cool, calm, collected, and he just fucks them. And it's very hype. It's very cool. But I do think it could be kind of lackluster for people where you build up to this really strong boss fight that ends in like 5 or 6 minutes because Jinwoo just slaps them around. It feels like, okay, he's like One Punch Man almost at this point, you know what I mean? Like, I could see why that could be not as satisfying to watch for some people, but for me, and I guess tons of other people, it is. Because the fights are still really beautiful. Jinwoo, I still think, is a really strong character, not just like in terms of his actual power, but like I actually think he is just a compelling character to watch and root for. But it is fair to say that if he's never challenged, it would get stale. Because you want to see him actually have to try and struggle against a really strong enemy where he finally overcomes it. You know, that's part of the hero's journey. And we do still get that. But I definitely recognize that in Season 2, we're mainly just watching him go ballistic and never really getting into a situation where I felt like, oh, he might lose, or he's going to have to really squeak some miracle out here to win this. It always felt like Jinwoo was firmly in control during all of it, even the strongest final fight. Now, in Season 2, we do get to learn about a few more characters to actually give a fuck about, which I think is very nice. So in Season 1, it's pretty much only Jinwoo that anyone is going to care about. But Season 2, we get a lot more characters coming into the fold because now he is an S rank and everyone knows now. Everyone in the world knows he's an S rank, so now we get to meet the other S ranks, and some of them get a little bit of depth added to them, which I think is good because there should be more characters that you give a fuck about other than Jinwoo. Even though I think Jinwoo is always going to be the biggest draw in Solo Leveling because he's the most interesting and most hype character the show has so far. But it is nice that now there are some other characters that we get to learn about in Season 2 that I think people would like to see stick around and not get, you know, eviscerated. Anyway, though, I'll stop yapping about it. I think Solo Leveling is a must-watch, especially for anyone that likes, you know, over-the-top anime action. It's a beautifully animated show and just a great time. That's really about it. So, yeah. Yeah, I definitely think it's anime of the year. Dawn to Dawn is a show that really came out of nowhere for me. Never even heard a whisper about this manga before, but then once episode 1 of the anime hit, everyone's screaming its name from the rooftops. I also thought it was Dan to Dan until 3 minutes ago when I decided to look it up, because last time I mispronounced something, that's the entire comment section, is just how much of a fucking Neanderthal I was for getting the pronunciation of something wrong, so I wasn't making this mistake again, especially not when it came to something as sacred as anime. I probably would have been thrown to the guillotine and had my soul exterminated like the Emperor did to Horus at the end of the heresy. And I wasn't going to take that chance. So, I've confirmed that it is Dawn to Dawn, and I'm also confirming that it is Anime of the Year. When this show dropped, my whole chat was telling me about it, saying I need to watch it, and then every single week from that point forward, they'd always ask me if I'd watched the new episode, and if I had, what did I think of it? I haven't seen this level of hype around a new anime since Chainsaw Man. And I think the show lives up to the hype. I wasn't disappointed or let down. Not that I really could have been, I had no expectations, because just like the top shelf in my kitchen, I had no fucking idea this existed. So, I was just pleasantly surprised at how good it is. And on paper, it's not the kind of show I like, because I have been a very outspoken Scrooge when it comes to slice of life. Really bored by it. I don't like slice of life. I can count on one hand the amount of slice of life anime I've ever even moderately enjoyed. And now, I'm going to have to add a new finger to that hand, because I do like this one, and it does have slice of life elements, but it's not putting all of its eggs into that basket. It has a lot of action, which is animated beautifully. The animation in this show is spectacular. Also has by far the best opening in recent memory since probably Vinland Saga Season 1. So yeah, the action is really good. It's beautiful, it's fluid, it's fast, it's chaotic. I was really surprised with how high quality the animation was for this show. Basic concept of this show is that it revolves around aliens and ghosts. Two things I fucking love. I'm obsessed with aliens, and every new alien update that hits the planet, me and my dad talk about it and argue about it daily, and I fucking love ghosts. I hunt those bitches. I've gone on 4 different ghost missions to try and prove their existence, even though I myself don't believe in them even a little bit, just for the sake of seeing if maybe I'm wrong and ghosts are real. So I love aliens and ghosts, and they combine both of these into a really beautiful stew. And our main characters are discovering they have powers. One gets psychic powers. The other gets a spirit possession power, where Okarun, that's his name, gets possessed by a spirit called Turbo Granny, who bites his wiener, steals his cock, and then it ends up, through a large series of events, granting him the ability to call upon her really impressive power. So the action's really cool. Like, these elements themselves aren't anything super new, except for, of course, the possession via cock. I haven't seen that before, but maybe I just haven't watched enough anime. But everything that it has, aliens, ghosts, psychic powers, that's nothing new. But what the show does is it combines all of these elements so well. Like, it is wacky, it's self-aware, and it is first and foremost just fun. It's also really good at delivering emotional beats when appropriate. There's an episode in here that I don't want to spoil that is probably one of the more emotional episodes of anime I've seen all year. And it's just one episode, and it was able to convey so much. They do such a great job of balancing the comedy, which there's a lot of comedy in it, the action, there's a lot of action in it, as well as these few emotional moments, as well as making you, the viewer, probably relate to some of the situations when it comes to the romance and like the awkwardness of romance and shit. So I just think they just nail all of it, to be honest. I don't have a single complaint about the show. And like I said, a lot of what this show offers are things that I really just don't even like in most anime in general, like the comedy bits. I don't really like a lot of anime comedies. They don't really make me, giggle. I'm not grabbing at my belly like Santa Claus, breaking out into fits of laughter watching the anime character shoot blood out of his nose for the millionth time. Like, I'm usually not laughing at the comedy gags in most anime. But in here, I actually did have a couple of moments where I was giggling. And it's just well done. Like, it does things different while still exploring similar concepts to other anime. I really am surprised at just how well the show is written. And it's so refreshing just how unserious it is sometimes, where you have things like Turbo Granny possessing Okaroon, and now all of a sudden he has to go on this noble quest to find his missing testicles, which have turned into golden balls and flew across the world like fucking Dragon Balls. Like, that's so silly. And it's really self-aware in the silliness, but they play it straight. So it, like, feels really good. Like, it's just entertaining. And it's not afraid to be serious. Like I mentioned, they have some really emotional moments that are done very well. And they also do the romance really well. They don't tackle romance in this show the same way a lot of other anime do. So it feels like a show that they just knew what the fuck they were doing. The action is great. The writing is great. The aliens in particular, when they fight the aliens, are really cool. And they're also super silly. Like, the aliens are doing, like, crazy dances and shit, and they look super silly. And they keep talking about trying to harvest the humans' banana organs. Once again, talking about penis. Like, the show is also, first and foremost, making dick jokes out the wazoo. Like, hey, they've been studying some of my old transcripts, I'll tell you that much. Anyway, though, I think I've glazed it enough. Point is, I do think Dan Da Dan is the best anime of the year. Hands down. So, yeah, that's really about it. So, yeah. For a couple months now, so many of you have been asking me if I'm going to be making a moist meter on Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2, and I've always proudly proclaimed, yes, of course I'll be making a moist meter for it. You bet your sweet bippy. But, unfortunately, just like Fire Festival, I lied. I'm a big fat liar, and Frankie Muniz ain't the one exposing me, I'm doing it myself. I pulled your leg, I yanked your chain, and I'm not sorry. I'm not making a moist meter. I'm making this video. I'm just gonna sit here and gushing grannies over Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2 because I, no exaggeration, believe it is a masterpiece of action shonen. I know the word masterpiece gets tossed around willy-nilly. It's used very loosey-goosey. It's pretty much lost most of its meaning. It's like the word prank to a YouTuber. Masterpiece doesn't hold the same weight that it used to, but I'm using it in the truest sense of the word. I 100% with my whole heart believe that Season 2 of Jujutsu Kaisen is legitimately a masterpiece in animation, and action for that matter. Now, before really getting into this, I want to make it clear that I'm not ignorant to the problems at MAPPA. MAPPA is the studio that produces Jujutsu Kaisen anime, and they have been overworking their staff, and it is a tragic situation at the actual MAPPA headquarters, because the work they have produced here is spectacular, but it came at the cost of the health of its employees, and I think that is completely unacceptable. All I can do is hope that MAPPA improves its infrastructure so that way it actually takes care of the talent that makes this possible. It is clear that so much passion went into this season, it oozes out of every frame of this show. It is unbelievable what they were able to do with Season 2 of Jujutsu Kaisen. I didn't think they'd even come close to matching the beauty of Season 1 of Jujutsu Kaisen, and somehow they came in here and fucking spanked its cheeks red. This is so much better somehow. It is mind-boggling just how good Season 2 is when it comes to its action. So, let me dive into this. I think, and I said this for Jujutsu Kaisen Season 1, that this is the best pure action that anime has to offer, period. This is about the best it can get in that genre. I don't think there's anything else that really competes with it in terms of what they're able to capture in the anime. Now, that being said, I do understand that a lot of people have complaints about its story and its power scaling, as well as some of its characters not ever really being developed and sometimes just used to, like, shock death and, like, startle viewers. And I do get those complaints. Like, I definitely do feel that in Season 2 here. They introduce some really cool characters, only, like, quickly just kill them off, or even kill off a character that never really had a chance to really be fully explored and be fully fleshed out, even though there were all signs pointing to that being the case. So it feels like at points, the narrative was there just to subvert your expectations for the sake of it, which felt a little unsatisfying to see a character's story come to a close the way that it did a couple times. Though, other times, it really felt like, damn, this is a big important moment, and it does feel like they were sent out in a really fitting way. So it was a couple hits and a couple misses when it came to that, but overall it didn't detract from my enjoyment of the story or the show as a whole. I actually love the universe of Jujutsu Kaisen, and I love the characters. Todo is still my favorite character, and even though he's not as prominent in this season as he was in Season 1, when he's here, he fucking shines. He shines bright like a diamond. I love Todo. And even characters that I didn't really care for in Season 1 have really great moments and even like small arcs in Season 2, like Mechamaru. And it even explores the villain side of things and makes you somewhat sympathetic to a couple of them, like Jogo, for example, who is kind of a joke. But Jogo is really interesting because he only squares off against the strongest possible fucking opponents, so we never really get to see him display his power against people less than godlike and nearly unbeatable. In Season 2, we do get to see him, like, flex. Like, we get to see him go crazy on some sorcerers that aren't necessarily unbeatable fucking deities. And damn, he is strong. He is spitting and shitting on people. Season 2 is really like this avalanche of hype. It starts with just this absolute fucking snowball rolling down the hill of hype, adrenaline, incredible action, and it's all beautiful to watch, and it never stops. It just keeps gaining speed, gaining girth, gaining mass. It's just this fucking non-stop runaway train of beauty, and I loved every second of the ride. I don't want to get into anything spoilery here. I really do just want to sing its praises because I think what's been produced is something extremely special. Now, there are plenty of valid complaints like about what not to like about Jujutsu Kaisen when it comes to story and characters and whatever, but there is no real complaint that can be made that its action or its animation is anything less than top tier and some of the best the industry has ever seen. Full stop. If there's anyone saying otherwise, they're being contrarian for the sake of it, or trying to get like engagement bait, because it is objectively, legitimately, objectively speaking, some of the most beautiful, most dynamic action that anime has right now. And it's kept up through the entire season. It's not just a couple tiddlywinks sprinkled throughout major episodes and major narrative moments. It's every episode, every fight has so much tender loving care put into every goddamn frame that it creates this beautiful piece. Every fight, every moment of a fight is amazing. And it's not just like a couple of big moves that are animated really well. They have so much hand-to-hand combat with like a dynamic moving camera that follows the action around, and it never really gets disorienting, except for a couple of moments during fights where things just go absolutely chaotic, like legitimately fucking bonkers. But other than that, it's all extremely easy to understand what's happening and so fun to watch. I really think Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2 is perhaps the best action shonen that can be made. Like, I don't know how you can do action in anime better than this season just did. Like, I feel like we've just now been spoiled for the rest of the humanity's existence on this fucking space rock with the best possible action anime we will ever see. Which is cool, you know, what a time to be alive, but damn, like, where do you go from here? I don't think it can be topped. I really don't. I can't recommend this show enough. I think even if you hate anime, if you hate animation, you will still probably find a lot of enjoyment watching the action here. Because Jesus Christ, it is a spectacle. So yeah, I just wanted to make this. I know I didn't really get into the nitty-gritty on any of it because I just don't even need to. This season is very simple. Bad thing happens. Very creative plan from the bad guys. Goes exactly how they want it to mainly, and now it's a series of fights to try and overpower them, and you're just getting fight after fight after fight after fight after fight. I think every single episode in this season had a big fight in it, or was a continuation of a big fight that had happened in the episode before. And how can you not love that? How can you not love that? Yes, you can want more narratively, I get it, but Jesus Christ, this is still such a beautiful meal to be consumed here. I loved it. I think it is a must-watch. I'm a huge fan. Clearly, I'm sitting here, you know, going wild over it, like a kid on Christmas that just got that bike they've been wanting for so long. But, like, this is an anime wet dream of a production, and it is just still such a shame that MAPPA overworks and mistreats its employees. I need to mention that again, because the talent behind this deserves to have their flowers here. Like, what they have done is unbelievable, and they should be rewarded for that. Not with, like, pain and misery while working at Mappa and dreading every single day. I remember I read something on Twitter how during one of the major fights in the episode, they'd actually slid in the Mappa headquarters building and it gets like blown to pieces or something. I don't know if that was just a meme or if that's true, but I do believe it because a lot of animators came forward to talk about their awful experience while working on this because of the way Mappa oversees the project. And that fucking sucks because this, what they've made, is incredible and this talent deserves to be rewarded. So, amazing season, amazing show, amazing series. I'm trying so hard not to read the manga because I want to just experience it in its animated format. But man, it is tough to fight that urge. Anyway, highly recommend. That's about it. See ya. It's 4 a.m. I couldn't sleep, so I thought, why not watch the next episode of X-Arm? Maybe it'll be so boring and bad that it puts me right to sleep with some beautiful dreams. It certainly wasn't the case. It really was boring and shitty, but it just made me mad, not tired. So I got out of bed, and I just want to rant about it. X-Arm is a Crunchyroll original anime, and it is absolutely abominable. And I think it serves as definitive proof that the Lord doesn't care about humans, because if he did, he wouldn't have allowed us to create this absolute disaster of a show. After watching just one episode, the series premiere, I called it the worst show I've ever seen, and that statement couldn't be more true. After finishing the second episode now, I can confirm that it's even worse. It somehow continues to find ways to surprise me with how dog shitty it is. Let's go ahead and look at some highlights from episode 2 here.
オーパーツという言葉を知ってるか？この時代にあるはずのない技術による加工費、貴様を含めてな。嘘だろ。
So they're hunting down and destroying Oop Arts, which is a really cool name. Sounds like noises a baby makes. Oop Arts are items from a different technological age that threaten the current age, could lead them to ruin. And that includes our main character, so he's a little concerned that they're going to kill him, and he oops his pants a bit, but he's reassured that they're not going to kill him if he helps them.
課長、先ほど東京湾メガフロートにおいて大をかけ、鉄槌を下します。
A suicide bomber blows up a car. I bet you didn't see that coming. Probably about the last thing you expected to happen here. But that's the beauty of X-Arm. It keeps you on your toes. It keeps you guessing. It's full of surprises. You never know what's going to happen next. The only guarantee with X-Arm is that whatever happens, it's gonna be fucking terrible. Here's the bad guys, the bedsheet bandits. I don't know if their look was modeled after a child's ghost costume for Halloween, or if it was inspired by, like, KKK hoods. Either way, it's super fucking stupid. This group of villains is mad because the government's making a mega float, and they were told that the mega float construction would stimulate the economy and lead to new jobs, but it hasn't. So they want them to stop the mega float being built, and if they don't, there's going to be one suicide bombing every 5 minutes. Suicide bombings can go to hell. If that's not one of the most powerful lines in anime history, I don't know what is. That's got to be up there with classics such as people die when they're killed. This is one of those lines that you will always remember now that you've heard it. This is a protagonist you can really root for.
はい、南さんの遺伝子コードを採取する必要があります。採取？何それ痛いの？いえ、痛みはありません。やってもいいですか？じゃあ、アルマお願い。では。遺伝子コード確認。
Woo-wee! Now it's getting real fucking hot. It's getting steamy. My god, that was... woof. That was a lot. That's gonna have me dumping some of my own genetic code here in a minute. And like I said, I told you, they only have like 3 facial expressions, so when they went in for the kiss, they just made like a giant lens flare in order to obstruct it, so that way you couldn't see that it's just 2 faces like colliding without any emotion or animation at all. Like, just look at this shit. They couldn't be bothered to do the bare minimum for a kissing scene, so they just censor it. It just looks like when you squish two Barbie dolls together and then say they're kissing and make smooching sound effects. Somehow that kiss establishes a link between Alma's body and the briefcase boy, so then she enters into the cyber realm where he's experiencing some kind of binary post-nut clarity and is able to take over her body. I'm not a scientist, but I would say that this makes a lot of sense. It sounds pretty grounded in reality. I imagine when AI does eventually take over the world, it'll be very similar to this, where they have to like start making out with us and then stealing our genetic information. The squad rolls out and starts executing people in the streets. And by that I mean they like tranquilize them in broad daylight and bring them in, and then start talking about heaven being real. So the thing that looks like the Xbox Kinect here is the main character, Akira. As you remember from episode 1, he died, but then like his consciousness was implanted into this X-arm machine, which is confined to a briefcase and this little robotic eyeball thing. The conversations in the show are so fucking silly. One minute they're tranquilizing people in the street and locking them in cryo chambers, and the next second they're talking about the existence of heaven and God. From this though, they track it down to a church where they find the main big bad guy, and he's got a massive army here that's ready to go fucking hog wild. Finally, it's about time we get into what X-Arm is really known for, its high-quality action sequences. This is up there with choreography on the level of John Wick, I would argue. It's just extremely smooth. It just feels good for the soul, honestly. It's like a soul massage watching X-Arm at its best, when it's delivering these grand action moments that will probably stand the test of time and make it into some of those top 10 anime fight compilations that always float around on YouTube. This might even be better than the iconic Kingsman church massacre scene. Like, if you put this X-Arm church fight right next to the Kingsman one, I would honestly have a hard time distinguishing which is which, because the 3D in X-Arm is scarily realistic. You know, this feels like it's technology that we weren't supposed to have yet. This feels like it's animation from the year 2040. It's really impressive work, and I love that all of the 9-year-olds that worked on it were able to really commit the time and effort to make something this special. Yeah, that was fucking incredible. She busted in there, super cinematic, and delivered a dropping crane kick onto a bad guy in slow motion. But I don't think the slow motion was on purpose. That shit came in there at like 4 frames per second. I feel like that may have just been a rendering glitch. All the characters in X-Arm move around as if they're just helium balloons being carried by a strong breeze. There's no weight to anything. Everything is just constantly empty and hollow and lifeless. It's such a weird show. Like, I can't even put my finger on exactly what makes it so unnerving to watch for me, but when I watch this show, I just get filled with a sense of dread and sorrow. Just when you thought it couldn't get any more epic, we're about to engage in a high-speed helicopter pursuit. The priest is taken to the skies, and he's about to detonate all the suicide bombers remotely, so the stakes couldn't be higher. I want to briefly just talk about the helicopter design here, because whoever came up with this idea needs to be thrown in jail immediately. This isn't high-tech, and it's not cool. It doesn't make any sense. This looks like some shit you'd find at Universal on one of those rides, like the Avatar ride or something. Like, why in the world would you pilot a helicopter from the outside of it? That doesn't give you any advantages at all, unless you're trying to, like, kill yourself quicker and just jump out, but you don't want to take the trouble of opening the door. You know, it makes no sense. This isn't even, like, futuristic looking. It just looks like someone thought motorcycles were cool, so they took that concept of riding a motorcycle and strapped it onto a helicopter here. Honestly, the coolest thing I've ever seen in my entire fucking life. Negative blade pitch, and then they just kick like a pop shove it with the helicopter and start flying it upside down, belly up, at the other helicopter. Then Alma jumps from that helicopter to the other straight up. But clearly, we're dealing with YouTube-level first-time animators, so they didn't actually animate anything. Instead, they just put the camera behind Alma's head and then made her move closer to it with the camera in order to simulate her jumping towards it. But I don't even care, because that negative blade pitch helicopter maneuver was legendary. That's where episode 2 ends. What an amazing conclusion, honestly. There's a lot to love about that, and almost nothing to hate. Let's be honest, is X-Arm the worst show ever made? Probably not. But it very well could be one of the best shows ever made. And I could find no better example of that than that scene right there. Absolute beauty. So she comes in, drops a cool one-liner, check and mate. Get scholars mated, nerd, you blundered, and I'm here to capitalize. And then he decides he's gonna blow himself up, and he calls it like a flawless victory for him, even though I disagree, considering he's dying, like he's suicide bombing. It's like, you know, maybe you could argue that he still wins kind of, but it certainly wouldn't be like a flawless win because he died for it. But he didn't win at all, because out of nowhere, a sniper headshots him and he falls out of the helicopter. Amazing. That's X-Arm for you. You gotta expect the unexpected, and you're gonna love it every step of the way. If you're a fucking clinical psychopath. This show is remarkably silly in all of the most not entertaining ways. Occasionally there's silly moments like this ending here I actually like a lot, with the helicopter going upside down and then the guy just getting sniped, a really anticlimactic ending. I think that's great and like bad, good, like fun bad. But the majority of the show is just terrible exposition, the worst animation you'll ever look at, and it's just insulting to a certain level. But anyway, that's episode 2. Can't wait for episode 3. That's about it. See ya. I'm just going to preemptively ask for forgiveness from the Lord here, because I'm coming in raw and no rubber. I just need to vent. Go ahead and get your Bible out and get ready for some amens, because I'm ready to fucking preach. I just finished watching episode 6 of Promised Neverland Season 2, and it is, without exaggeration, the most abominable, putrid pile of dog shit I've ever seen in an anime. Fair warning, there will be spoilers for this show, though I wouldn't recommend it to even my worst enemy, unless of course you only watch Season 1 and pretend Season 2 never happened. Season 1 of Promised Neverland is a damn near masterpiece. Season 2 is like it's been written by Tommy Wiseau overdosing on ketamine. It is bafflingly bad in every possible department. So as I mentioned in my Moist Meter, Season 2 doesn't follow the manga. And in my eyes, that's not an unforgivable sin. I haven't read the manga, I don't really read manga, I'm too fucking cool for that. I'm an alpha chad that only likes the moving pictures and the shooty bangs and titties all over the place in my anime, so I don't really know anything in the manga. But from what I've read, Season 2 has skipped everything in the manga, and I can absolutely feel that because the show is now devolved into like a story time for 4th graders. Spoilers, again, I'm just going to give you another fair warning. Norman comes back in episode 5. And in episode 6, it is spent in a circle where Norman just explains what happened in the manga, but never happened in the anime. So you never get to see any of this shit, and also, some things that happen in the manga just don't even exist in the anime, but anyway, Norman spends the entire time telling you about things that you never saw and never will see in the show. And it's like 10 minutes of just exposition diarrhea. This man is just vomiting facts all over the place, and it sounds like something a child would write. Oh, I was shipped off to this other facility, and I was experimented on, and then I met a guy named Shmi, and then Shmi died, and then I got some superpowers that make me like a super badass galactic emperor. Oh, and I created the ultimate weapon which can kill every demon in the world. Oh, and I'm gonna do this plan tomorrow. All of that happens in a single episode across like 10 straight minutes of exposition in a circle while everyone just looks on and cheers. You go, Norman, yeehaw. It's so bad. It's so fucking bad. It breaks like the pivotal rule of storytelling when it comes to like movies and shows, where it's, hey, show, don't just tell. This is nothing but telling. This reads like some kind of fucking fan fiction being read out loud in front of a creative writing class. It's unbelievable that this is the direction this show has taken. And also, like I mentioned in my Moist Meter, the jump from episode 4 to 5 is so fucking incredible. Episode 4 has them running away from somewhere, and episode 5 has it pick up a year later, without telling you anything that's happened in between. It's just, oh, now it's a year later. Oh, and now they're scavenging for food over here. Oh, and now they meet Norman again, who now just spends 10 minutes letting them know that he's created the fucking nuclear demon device to fuck them all in the asshole. It's so fucking unreal. The show, in Season 1, I thought was going to be one of the all-time greats. I thought Promised Neverland was on the right path to be like a staple in anime. A show that anyone could pick up and love because there was so much to like about it. Season 2, I don't know how anyone could possibly like it under any circumstances. Even if you were losing your virginity during an episode of Season 2 of this show, you would probably still feel gross and disgusted. You'd probably just tell them to just stop, get away. I need to turn the TV off first so I can get this garbage out of here. It is so unbelievably bad. It's insulting. It insults the viewer's intelligence by just breaking everything down for you in like this step-by-step wiki-how of what happened that they never showed you and you couldn't possibly know because it didn't bother even going there. It's so bad. And what's even more insulting is the fact that before episode 6 they did a special episode, which is a fucking recap of the show. 5 episodes in, they recap it. They recap Season 1, which is, okay, fine, but no one's watching Season 2 without having watched Season 1 in the first place, so I don't know who that's for. It's not like someone's grandfather's just all of a sudden going to sit down and watch Season 2 of this show and need to be caught up to speed. It was unnecessary. But then they still recap Season 2. You're 5 episodes in and you're recapping it. How unbelievably lazy and out of touch do you need to be to think that anyone wants to fucking see that? It's like if Mass Effect's 3 ending got butt-fucked by Neil Breen's visions. Like, his writing infiltrated it. It's already fucking terrible, and yet it somehow gets worse. Episode 6 is shockingly bad. It's unbelievable that they could actually put this out there and think anyone would enjoy it. Norman shows up out of nowhere with a miracle drug that he pulled out of his fucking dick hole, with no explanation on what it is, how he got it, where he learned how to make it, why he has a fucking briefcase full of it out of nowhere, who these people are that he's traveling with in their relationship. There's no flashback, there's no explanation other than a single sentence to explain away all of these things, despite them being by far the most important things we've ever heard in the show. I swear, if you thought Game of Thrones Season 8 was horrible, which it absolutely was, you haven't experienced shit until you watch this season of Promised Neverland. Now, again, this is only episode 6, it's not over, so maybe in episode 7 they go through and explain everything thoroughly. though I highly doubt it. But even still, the fact that they dedicated a whole episode to nothing but an exposition fucking clusterfuck, where all they do is tell you things that happened without showing you anything or really connecting anything, there's nothing you can do as a writer to fix that. There's really nothing they can do from this point forward to justify where this show is right now. They already skipped an entire year without showing you a goddamn thing. They've skipped crucial plot elements from the manga, which I decided to read about just to get caught up to speed on what should be happening, or what should have been explained, or what should be going on. And the fact that it's all skipped, I have no fucking clue how they can even salvage the narrative here. I wouldn't be surprised if episode 7, it turns out Norman also created some kind of geostorm device where he just sends the demon killer drug up through like a fucking laser tunnel teleportation device and just blasts it across the entire Earth like some kind of apocalyptic meteor storm that kills all of the demons or something outlandish. Like, at this point, it's like they're not even trying. They're just throwing darts at a board and just putting in whatever the fuck it lands on with dialogue instead of anything else. It's like there's nothing even animated in this show. Across all of season 2, I can't even think of like many times the characters are even like moving or doing anything. There's like 4 scenes across all 6 episodes that come to mind where they move a little bit, and it all happens in the first episode. Like, it's bad. It's really bad. It's not even watching an anime, it's watching someone's PowerPoint where they're trying to pitch you on a show idea that they had, but they're not good at getting it across. It's bad. And I just wanted to vent about it, because I'm really, really disappointed. Like, extremely fucking disappointed. I haven't done this since Game of Thrones Season 8, but man, this is horrible. I hate to see what they did with such a promising show. It's really awful. Yeah, that's about it. So yeah. It's no secret I like anime. What are you gonna do about it, pussy? Huh? You wanna fight about it? What are you gonna do? Give me a wedgie in the locker room or some shit? A little wet willy? You can't. I'm a goddamn adult. I can like anime without your permission. There's only 2 types of people in this world. People that watch anime and liars. And I've seen a lot of goddamn anime in my life, but I tell ya, the SpongeBob anime that just came out is probably one of the best I've ever seen. Easily the best of the season. So I just wanted to dive in here and just digest some of this with you.
A Narmak animation.
So the first arc here, the Bubble Bass arc, one of the favorites from the cartoon, has been adapted into anime thanks to Narmak Animation, and right away you know you're getting quality. Narmak is like the Studio Ghibli of SpongeBob anime adaptations. He only knows how to make bangers.
店長、大丈夫ですか？
来たか、スポンジボブ。
カーニバーガーがやばいと聞いて急いで来ました。何があったんですか？
Now, I find it highly unlikely there's anyone watching right now that hasn't seen the SpongeBob cartoon, though I do imagine a lot of you haven't read the manga. There's massive differences between the cartoon and the anime. It follows more closely in line with the manga, which is a sacred text up there with the Bible. So you're going to notice a couple of differences in terms of how the characters act in this anime compared to the cartoon. So just prepare yourself.
奴は5つのピクルスのことすら知っていた。闇のバーガーに潜む秘密を封じるためにわしが作ったレシピ。その存在を知る者ですらもうこの世。
As you would expect from the Bubble Bass arc, we will be focusing on the Forbidden 5 Pickled Patty. And to the readers of the SpongeBob manga, I'm just going to go ahead and hit you with the cold water right now and force feed you your vegetables, give you the bad news. This is unfortunately not going to have the copious amounts of nudity and full penetrative sex that the SpongeBob manga is known for. This is a YouTube anime adaptation, so Narmak had to unfortunately cut out some beloved arcs from the manga, such as the Sandy spread cheeks and just beautiful content like that. But even though that's not going to be making an appearance in the SpongeBob anime, it's still extremely good.
すでにイカルドを向かわせている。何としても奴がクラゲ草原を出る前に取り戻さねば。
向かわせた。一人で行かせたんですか？そんなの死にに行くようなものじゃないですか。
それでも、あれはあのレシピだけは奪われてはならないのだ。
Mr. Krabs was faced with an impossible decision. After giving his all to stop Bubble Bass's rampage at the Krusty Krab, he had to make the painful choice to send Mr. Squidward after Bubble Bass to try and stop and retrieve what was lost. Mr. Squidward's no fucking idiot, alright? Mr. Squidward knew that this was likely a suicide mission, but still, he accepted it because he knew he was fighting for something bigger than himself. I wouldn't be surprised if Mr. Squidward was the one who volunteered to go after Bubble Bass and Mr. Krabs tried to stop him.
この職場がどういうところか知ってて今までやってきた。スポンジボブよ。いつかお前も真実を知る日が来る。あの闇のパティの秘密とお前自身の真実を。そしてわしが全てをかけてでもお前を守ってきた理由を。
Unfortunately, SpongeBob doesn't quite grasp what he means to Mr. Krabs. Mr. Krabs has always put SpongeBob's life ahead of his, ahead of even money in certain scenarios. And SpongeBob going on this reckless mission to try and save Mr. Squidward has really put Mr. Krabs in between a rock and a hard cock here. He knows he can't go and stop SpongeBob, and he knows he can't just let Mr. Squidward die. His soul is tearing in half, and you can really feel it thanks to the incredible voice work here. The SpongeBob anime has always had amazing intros with high-quality boner jams and a lot going on. Like, even just this opening right here tells an incredibly compelling story about friendship and what happens when a friend goes down a different path than you. It is just extremely powerful with an incredible intro, and I just wanted to make note of that.
SpongeBob!
Sandy, イカルト。
最後に見かけたのはあの岩のあたりだと思うけど。
戦っているのか。じゃあなんであなたたちはここで見ているだけなんですか。
それはイカルトが来るなって言って。
あやつは自分の名誉のために戦っている。
Unsurprisingly, Squidward asked both Patrick and Sandy not to interfere in his fight. Squidward's always been a character with a very strong sense of morals and his own personal code, which he always abides by. And he's always put the safety of others first in fighting for the greater good. He's not afraid to put a clarinet up his asshole if that's what the situation calls for. He is just a completely selfless character from the manga, which very much differs from his portrayal in the cartoon, unfortunately. Now, I was a little bit surprised that Sandy didn't interfere, because Sandy's always said, you know what, fuck pride, fuck honor, it does no good, it just gets you hurt. Patrick, I'm not shocked. You know, Patrick has always been a character that's been very much ingrained in this belief that one has to abide by their code in order to be a man. So Patrick not going down there to help makes sense. I just feel it might be a little out of line for Sandy's character, but for Patrick I totally get it. And for a lot of fans of the cartoon, this may be very jarring to see Patrick this serious, but he's always been this serious. In fact, it's almost an injustice what they did to Patrick in the cartoon. But I understand why they dumbed him down for the cartoon, because he was just a bit overpowered in the manga. So I absolutely get it, but it's lovely to see him in a return to form here. Fills me with jubilation to see the noble Patrick Star Samurai in full glory here in the anime again.
大切なものを守れる強さ、絶望に立ち向かう勇気、イカルドは確かめようとしているのだ。自分にもその強さ。
そんなくだらないことを本気で信じてるんですか。あなたたち二人が強いことは僕が誰よりも知っています。そんな強いお二人がイカルドの勇気やらプライドやらって言葉を鵜呑みにして見殺しにしたと言うんですか。フレンドの F はどこ行ったんですか。
スポンジボブ。
Oh, that line, what happened to F is for friends. That is the powerful kind of writing you can come to expect from the SpongeBob anime. So fucking good, so profound. SpongeBob was able to just throw this whole idea of honor and pride right on its head and say, you know what? What good is it when, as friends, we just let a friend die? What happened to F is for friends? One of the most powerful quotes I've heard in anime. This is up there with the bone of my sword. You know, people die when they're killed. It's one of the best.
スポンジボブとイカルドはいわば同じコインの表と裏。二人とも拙者を震わせるほどの何かを秘めている。そしてあの何とも言えぬ顔がまたかっこいい。予言では醜い怪人が全てに死をもたらすと言っていただろう。大丈夫、奴らは違う。二人ともかっこいいから。
The wise sea star sage speaks. He's of course talking about the ugly barnacle prophecy, which I'm sure we're all familiar with. Even if you've only seen the cartoon, I'm sure you've at least heard of the ugly barnacle prophecy. It's a very popular one, up there with the Mayan calendar 2012 shit. And Patrick Star is reassuring both Sandy and the viewer that both Squidward and SpongeBob are just far too attractive to be subject to that omen. Sandy was on the breaking point. She had just watched Squidward march to his inevitable demise at the hands of the malicious Bubble Bass, and now she just watched her best friend SpongeBob fucking cliff dive here, doing the exact same thing, potentially facing the same fate. But the calming words from Patrick were enough to bring her back and help center her again.
これはただの石だ。初代の武器がこんなところにあったなんて。よし、これならいける。あとは。
I absolutely love the foreshadowing. After stumbling upon an ancient weapon of the pioneers, SpongeBob makes a quick little mention of perhaps this weapon will come in handy at some point in the future, hinting at perhaps Season 2 following the Mrs. Puff arc, or maybe even unleashing the goofy goober within. There's really no telling yet. Maybe even in this episode he uses his ripped pants special move. The possibilities are limitless. All we know now is maybe The Rock will play a role in that at some point.
なんでここに
イカルド
ミカエクラリネットもマジ
クラリネットだったら怪我が治ったらすぐにでも。
After retrieving the syringe from Bubble Bass, Squidward takes a devastating blow and unfortunately meets his end right in front of SpongeBob. You can feel the heartbreak. You can actually tangibly taste it, even smell it, roaming from jellyfish fields right to your fucking nostrils through the computer. This is the powerful kind of animation and voice acting you would expect from something like the SpongeBob anime, and it really sells it. I gotta be honest, when I first saw it, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't tearing up. It really is a powerful scene, and, well, it just causes SpongeBob to snap.
どんなに頑張ってもお前はあの時ピクルスを忘れて客に品を出しちまった救いようのないコックなんだよ。仲間一人救えないお前は名前をサクセスのやつからフェールドの F に変えた方がいいんじゃないかなあフポンジボブ。
黙れつってんだよクソが。
God, it just gets you hype as fuck, makes me want to fucking toss over my own desk and take a piss or something. It's just so extreme. Seeing SpongeBob finally have enough of Bubble Bass's ridicule about how he couldn't make him a Krabby Patty with pickles on it, and how Squidward died because he was too weak. SpongeBob injects himself with the formula that Squidward gave his life to get back, and then he fucking dials in. The formula combining with the curse of the hash-slinging slasher has SpongeBob finally awaken and finally activate his Sharingan, allowing him to achieve a mastery of karate that he never thought possible. If that's not one of the best fight scenes of the 2020 anime season, then I just don't know what the fuck is. Absolutely stellar. I love the crescendo of music. I love the shredding on the guitar from fucking Buckethead or whoever's shredding on that bad boy for the SpongeBob anime. It's just incredible. Everything works together so beautifully. It's lovely to look at. I do, however, wish there was a little bit more. I would have liked to see a bit more of Bubble Bass's power since we didn't get to see a whole lot of it. He did, however, just fucking blast Squidward and kill him in one shot. So it does give you a bit of a gauge, but I would have liked to see a bit more from Bubble Bass. I'm sure he had a ton of other moves, but I imagine just given this being the first arc, they didn't want to dedicate too much to showing off Bubble Bass, and just wanted to show off more how extreme SpongeBob can be. And SpongeBob popped the fuck off, as you would expect. SpongeBob's always been one of the most powerful characters in anime. Typically the debate goes, who's stronger, God, One Punch Man, or SpongeBob? And SpongeBob is always very close to taking that one. So I love seeing him just unleash it all right here, put it all on the line, after seeing his best friend just get destroyed right in front of him, using the secret formula. It's just everything worked together so beautifully here for this fight. And that's where the Bubble Bass arc comes to its satisfying conclusion. Narmak absolutely fucking crushed it here with this, and it makes me extremely happy to see all of that hard work being rewarded. He said it took him around 6 months to make this. He has actual professional voice actors here doing it. It's just an incredible job all around. And to see his channel really start to blow up from it, and seeing the incredible support on this video in particular, is extremely nice to see, because hard work like this I absolutely think deserves to be rewarded, and it is fantastic. So really hats off to Narmak and everyone that worked on the project. It's really fucking good, and I loved watching it. And yeah, just keep up the good work. That's about it. So yeah, I've been playing so much fucking Yu-Gi-Oh on my phone that every single ad that I get now is for Duel Links. It's like dangling a couple free poker chips in front of a gambling addict's face, fucking scratching at my neck like an unhealthy addiction where I'm trying to like kick a smoking habit or something. But also it's had me want to go back and rewatch the original Yu-Gi-Oh show. I never actually finished all of Yu-Gi-Oh! And I really regret it. I made a video a year ago talking about one episode in particular where I was like flipping on Yu-Gi-Oh! To fall asleep to, and just remembered how fucking insane it was and made a video about it. Well, I wanted to go back and watch the whole show to see if it was all like that, and this show is an actual masterpiece. This is like one of the goofiest shows of all time. It's like if Tommy Wiseau made an anime. It is wonderful, so I thought it'd be fun if we just dive in and take a look at Yu-Gi-Oh! And kind of go through some of the episodes here. So episode 1 kicks off with Yugi clapping Joey's cheeks in a duel, and then says his grandpa owns a card shop and offers to show them the super turbo rare card that the grandpa has that'll put hair on their chest and shit, and Kaiba overhears it.
Rare card? Could they have found the card that I've been searching for?
My friend's your awesome super rare card.
Rare card? My special card?
Yugi's grandfather's store has to be the worst shop in the entire history of brick-and-mortar businesses. It only has a single rare card. The dude just fucking sells nothing but useless bulk common garbage. Grandpa, can you show us your rare card? Rare card? What the fuck do you think this is? Rare? We don't deal with that here. Would you like to buy some dirt instead? I mean, he comes in, he has a single rare card and he doesn't sell it. All he sells is just useless nonsense. Well, we don't have anything rare here, but we do have some dumpster water that I found, and I put it in a glass. I'm selling that for $5 if you're interested.
Here it is. Eat the Blue Eyes White Dragon in a dump like this?
I don't get why Kaiba even thought the Blue Eyes might be here in the first place just because he heard there was a rare card here. Makes it sound like there's only a single rare card in the entire Yu-Gi-Oh! Universe. Rare card? Yep, that's the Blue Eyes. It's the only fucking rare card that exists.
But this card is worth more to me than you could ever offer. Not because of its power, or because it's so rare, but because of what it means to me. This card was given to me by a dear friend, and so I treasure this card as I do that friend. So parting with it is completely out of the question.
No.
Yeah, but that's a pretty shitty reason, Grandpa. You're very short-sighted. You could sell this Blue Eyes to Kaiba for like $10 million and then split that with the friend that gave you the Blue Eyes in the first place, and I'm sure that friend would find that sentiment far better than you just holding on to some crusty, cum-covered Blue Eyes for 50 years.
Come with us now.
But I'll teach him a lesson about the heart of the cards.
Grandpa! Grandpa! Are you okay?
Yugi, I failed. I wanted to teach that boy Kaiba a lesson about the heart of the cards, but I lost.
You remember that whole spiel he just gave a moment ago about how he could never part with the blue eyes under any circumstance, even if God himself came down and said the only way to prevent rapture was by giving me your blue eyes, Grandpa would still decline? Remember how he said all that shit? Well, then he just willy-nilly puts the blue eyes up as a wager in a duel against Kaiba. And loses. Not just loses in such a colossal fashion, his ass gets beat so hard, his ham gets steamed to such an incredible degree that he has to be hospitalized and rushed into the ICU as a result of losing a duel in such a spectacular, embarrassing fashion.
Had a duel, that's all, with each of us putting up our most valuable card as the prize. I won.
Grandpa's most treasured card!
Take this.
Huh? Grandpa?
I built this deck. I put my soul in these cards.
Yeah, but you just got your ass beat with that exact same deck. This deck just proved to be useless against Kaiba, and you're giving it to Yugi now? You trying to get him killed too? Yugi, yes, my ass may have just been spread wide open using this deck, but I have a good feeling that you'll do great with it. I put my soul into it. As if that means anything. People put their souls into things all the time that they'll never be good at. Doesn't necessarily have any, like, actual value, you know what I mean? The deck still fucking sucks and you just lost with it.
Don't give up, Yugi. Each piece helps build a greater entity.
Grandpa!
Like the pieces of a puzzle, Yugi. Remember. Monster, Exodia, but he can only be summoned by drawing all 5 special cards. A feat that to this very day no one has ever accomplished.
Grandpa's like a cute little lolly in this show, man. He's fucking adorable. So Grandpa, as he's being rushed into surgery to help like mend the ass beating that he's experienced on some kind of metaphysical level, I don't know what the fuck they're gonna do. Grab like healing crystals or something and just like hit him with it? I have no idea. I don't think it's like a medical emergency. He just lost a duel real hard. But either way, he's about to go into surgery. He's slipping in and out of consciousness, touch and go. He's, you know, he might be going to heaven, he might be going to hell. He's in between dimensions right now. And then he comes to Yugi in this like fucking Force Ghost Star Wars style to remind him about the pieces of a puzzle in summoning Exodia before he fades away into the nether, into the oblivion, the void. Not showing much of the duel because it's just a pretty uneventful duel. Yu-Gi-Oh! Rules in the beginning where if you just had monsters with a high attack, you can just straight fucking slap that shit down. Just drop your cock on the table there, flop dick out, throw down blue eyes with no tributes or anything. So Kaiba summons all 3 blue eyes, Yugi plays Swords of Revealing Light, which stalls them for 3 turns, and he starts drawing into Exodia, trying to pull off some crazy top deck dubski, and with his grandpa's help and the power of friendship, he just might do it.
Huh? Our friendship symbol.
Yugi, we're right here with you.
Yugi, you've got to believe in yourself. Got to believe in the cards like my friends believe in me.
Draw your last pathetic card so I can end this, Yugi.
My grandpa's deck has no pathetic cards, Kaiba.
Honestly, that's just a classic line right there. This whole scene is beautiful. A timeless masterpiece right here. This is one of those scenes that you will always remember once you see it. This is up there with some of the greats, like Tears Lost in the Rain from Blade Runner. This is just one of those classic cinema moments. And also, don't let it distract you from the fact that Grandpa is still in the hospital because he got his ass beat so hard in a children's card game.
Ah! Impossible! Exodia! Obliterate!
Grandpa's awake!
Yugi won.
A real tear-jerker of a conclusion to episode 1 here. Grandpa's life hung in the balance on whether or not Yugi could win in a duel. Can you imagine the fucking guilt Yugi would feel if he did just lose and his grandpa died? It's like, damn, I lost a duel, but you know, it's just a game at the end of the day. He goes to the hospital and his grandpa's just fucking mangled corpses there because he lost the duel, died of disappointment, shame, and failure. Like, that's a big responsibility for Yugi, so luckily he was able to squeak out that win there at the end with the Exodia. All in all, this is probably the best first episode of any show to ever air. It just moves at a lightning pace. Like, think about where we started. Dueling in a fucking classroom in the beginning. You know, 1 minute we were learning about electron orbitals, and the next second we're dueling in some kind of coliseum with real monsters and fighting to save Grandpa's life. Like, that's fucking intense. I mean, Grandpa is still probably gonna die when he gets the medical bill from that shit. Like, that's probably like a $50,000 medical bill. But at the moment, it's a triumphant victory for the whole gang. An excellent first episode, and I'm looking forward to watching more Yu-Gi-Oh! That's it. See ya. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a show many of us grew up with, and we either forgot or never realized just how fucking wild that show is. I was watching old Yu-Gi-Oh! Episodes, just throwing them on randomly in no particular order to help with sleeping during a bout of insomnia. Spoiler alert, it didn't work, because I was fucking glued to the screen, just blown away by what I was watching unfold in front of me. The Lord could have never imagined eyes would ever process the things Yu-Gi-Oh! Showed them. It is downright lunacy. It's like it was written by an 8-year-old during an acid trip. It's fucking silly. So the episode I want us to look at today is episode 80, Lights, Camera, Duel. Now, I don't want to take any risk of copyright infringement or anything like that, so I'm not going to be showing the episode in its entirety. I'm going to be breaking it up. I'm also only going to have it in the small box on the screen and just have like my Twitch offline page in the background or something, twitch.tv/moistcritical. So let's go ahead and look at this shit and break it down together. Undoubtedly, you've already come in your pants after hearing just a snippet of that iconic Yu-Gi-Oh! Intro, but don't clean up the ejaculate yet, because you're going to be busting some big old fat nuts coming up throughout the episode as well. So the episode starts with Mai parking her car in the back alley and the group walking to the Duelist finalist area, and just standard anime shit, Yugi talking about believing in the heart of the cards to get a bigger penis and milkier tits, and then they come across this poster here with some ninjas on it.
Yeah, but look, it's Jean-Claude Magnum's latest ninja flick. That guy rocks. I gotta see this one.
Jean-Claude Magnum is obviously a play on words from a popular action movie hero named Jean-Claude Van Damme, although it's also sounding like the name of a porn star. If I was choosing a porn star's name to be the antagonist of my dueling anime, I would have chosen something a little bit cooler. I would have gone with something pretty fucking rad, like a medium rare beef hammer.
You gotta be kidding driving like that.
Sorry, kid. Hope my entrance didn't spook you.
It's you, Jean-Claude Magnum.
So just like some Beetlejuice shit or some Bloody Mary shit, you say Jean-Claude Magnum's name 3 times while spinning in a circle, jerking off to his poster, and then all of a sudden you'll summon him and he'll come fucking barreling his limousine through your fucking wall. Here's our antagonist, and he's here to take Mai's hand in marriage by beating her in a duel. Naturally.
It was an offer of love, Mai.
Look what I've got. Say goodbye to the rest of your life points. Well?
You can stand up to me and tell me what's on her mind. Take this ring, Mai, and be my wife. Mai, wait!
Ask me again when you can beat me in Duel Monsters. Oh. Guess it's too late to say I was kidding, huh?
So the conflict of the episode is looking like some Are Nice Guys fanfic. The man says he loves her, immediately tries to marry her, she declines, he comes back to try and beat her in Duel Monsters to force her to marry him, and now they engage in a very boring, very childish duel. The whole time, Yugi and the gang are reiterating the stakes. If Mai loses this, she's gonna have to marry that anorexic Johnny Bravo. No, Mai can't do that. Mai won't lose if she believes in the heart of those cards, god damn it. And they just keep reiterating over and over again how bad it would be if she loses, and then a whole bunch of gasps and shit. Standard anime shit. Nothing too wild there. Until he summons this ninja right here. Once this ninja god is summoned, Jean-Claude Magnum monster manhood starts anally fucking Mai in full animated glory with all of his ninjas joining in on the browser's train, and then he summons a kite for the ninja to fly on. Now when I think of ninjas, the first thing I think of is ninjas on a kite. Ninjas and kite go hand in hand like peanut butter and jelly on a sandwich. They're one and the same, so it's only natural that he would summon a kite for the ninja to fly on. And this becomes an even bigger problem for Mai to handle in the duel. Yugi and the gang behind her start losing their fucking shit like they just saw the world's most impressive magic trick, like, Jesus Christ, this is the one thing we could have never prepared ourselves for. And then again, reiterating the stakes, Mai's gonna be forcibly married to this bad creep man. Then they start like backseat gaming her like she's playing on twitch.tv/moistcritical. Go follow, I stream every day. So they start backseat gaming, giving her advice that she's not asking for. It's not helping, she gets mad, and then she eventually starts to turn the tide on Jean-Claude Magnum. And then in a tornado-style attack, she beats him in the duel. And that's where things get pretty interesting.
Scratch attack!
Show's over.
I give you 2 thumbs down, movie boy. Please stop reciting your lines. The duel's over. Get out of my life now. Huh? Your monster's still there?
But the duel's over.
All the dueling holograms should have disappeared.
Hey guys, I don't think that's a hologram.
So it turns out that the ninja that is strapped to the fucking kite in the sky, fucking 100 feet in the air, is not a hologram, it's an actual man up there. That's a fucking best friend that's flying above Jean-Claude Magnum's head right there. My friends wouldn't piss in my mouth if I was fucking dying of thirst in the desert. Meanwhile, this man has strapped himself to a jetpack kite in the air. And keep in mind, this is a real man who shot lightning at her at one point. So that's not just a man, that's not just a best friend, that is a fucking wizard right there that is firing lightning at Mai. Genuinely a fucking crime he committed against her, because he assaulted her with magic.
Closing in!
Welcome to the world of Hollywood special effects, where anything can happen.
Let me out, you sore loser!
Mai!
If I can't win your heart, Mai, then I'm just gonna have to steal it.
You won't get away with this.
The flying ninja stuntman then reaches into his Batman utility belt and gets like a fucking go-go gadget kidnapping net, fishing net, takes her up, and then flies away with her, and Jean chases him down to force marry her through kidnapping. It's a little dark for a kid's show, I would say, and this is a little more than Hollywood special effects. It's not exactly a special effect, that's an actual kite jetpack.
Hang on, Mai!
Huh? Put me down now, you ninja freak!
Mai, be careful! Mai! That's it!
Here, take my hand, Mai. You're safe now.
Get lost. You don't even do your own stunts, you coward.
So, does this mean our wedding plans are off, dear?
The only real action hero around here is right there, resting.
The stunt double being the ninja here really deserves a raise. Not only did he do an excellent kidnapping and maneuvering of the jetpack kite, he stayed in character the whole time. He's a real fucking method actor, communicating in nothing but grunts, sounding like a goddamn Nintendo 64 villain in a Mario game. That was impressive. So, I mean, the duel itself kind of childish, not a lot to talk about there, but I love the little extra oomph they added with the forced marriage, the kidnapping, and the plot twist of the guy being not a duel monster, but an actual guy. Pretty fucking wild shit, even a little dark. Mai had a pretty lukewarm reaction to being kidnapped. She didn't seem all that bothered. It's like some Princess Peach shit. It's almost like she wanted to get kidnapped by a flying ninja on a kite. A little conspiracy shit there, not to put on the tinfoil hat, but if that was me that got kidnapped by a flying ninja, I'd be goddamn inconsolable. I would be in a psychiatric hospital. They'd have to throw me in Arkham Asylum. I'd be so goddamn damaged from that kind of event, but she took it like a champ. Excellent episode, and that's it. I just wanted to remind you all of the genius that is the early seasons of Yu-Gi-Oh! That shit's wild. That's it. See ya.